unit 6, on the differences between ionic and covalent. Our learning target, I will analyze and compare the properties and bonding patterns of ionic and covalent compounds using evidence such as electronegativity differences, structure, and behavior to classify substances and explain their real-world applications. Okay, so how do they form, right? Formation of for ions, an ionic bond is formed when two or more ions of opposite charge are near enough to cause a force of attraction. Okay? Always takes place between a metal and a non-metal. Okay? Covalent bonds involve the sharing of electron pairs between atoms. They form between nonmetals and nonmetals. Okay? All right. Properties of ionic compounds tend to form three-dimensional patterns and have a lattice structure. They tend to be solid at room temperature. They have a high melting and boiling point, and they conduct electricity and heat very well. Compared to covalent compounds, they tend to have a low melting point and boiling point. They can be in any state at room temperature. That means they can be solid, liquid, or gas at room temperature. They tend to be soft or brittle in their solid form. And they are poor electrical and thermal conductors. Okay. Remember how we make the formulas for ionic. We first have to take our atoms and form them into ions, right? So aluminum is a 3+ ion and oxygen is a 2- ion. To bring them together, bring them close together, the 3 on the aluminum is going to go to the bottom of the oxygen, and the 2 on the oxygen is going to go to the bottom of the aluminum, right? That's our switch trick. And then we're going to get rid of the pluses and minuses, and then we just end up with Al2O3. Okay? For covalent, it's basically just how many of each atom are there. So in this case, we have 2 H's, H2, and an O, 1 O. Here we have 4 H's, so H4, and 2 C's, C2. 2 H's and 2 C's. Okay? Naming ionic compounds, again, we're going to use our example of Al2O3. The first thing you do is you write down the name of the first atom, right? The first element. Okay, so Al is aluminum, so we just write aluminum. Then we have O. O is oxygen, right? We're going to take that last half off and put in an IDE. So it would be aluminum oxide. Okay? There's nothing in front of any of these. Okay? For covalent compounds, we're going to again write the element name, right? So nitrogen, but the number of them now is a prefix. And so the number 2 is the word di. You can find that on the back of your periodic table. Okay? And then again for oxygen, right? Ox, and then don't forget that second word has to have IDE in it. Okay? And then there are 3 of them, and then the word for 3 is tri. So we have N2O3, dinitrogen, right? 2 nitrogens, trioxide, 3 oxygens. Okay, so to sum it up, when it comes to ionic or covalent compounds, we just talked about how those bonds form, what the properties of their compounds are, how to write formulas, and how to write names.